As I said, I am at the Exeter Road Jail in London, Ontario. I am here doing a prayer walk. Just came back to my car. And I come here and I pray for everybody that is in here. It started actually more than 3 years ago, because Jazz went in 4 years ago, and it was for a bunch of accumulated petty crimes, from taking things from grocery stores, taking taxi cabs and not paying for them. And he bought a car and drove the car, and it had no insurance, no plates, none of that stuff. So it was a whole bunch of things accumulated when he was really lost. Anyways, and he came in here, and you're allowed to have 2 visits per week. So I scheduled 2 visits every single week. And I think he was in here for 9 or 10 months. Well, he saw me once in the very beginning, and then the next appointment I made that week, he didn't want to see anybody. So I was like, oh, well, I came all the way out here because we live in St. Thomas, and I came to London, and he didn't want to see me. So I thought, okay, well, if I can't see him, I'm going to pray outside. I'm going to march back and forth on the outside. If I can't reach him, God can reach him. So out here, I prayed for him. And then I started praying for everybody else that was in there, that God would heal their brokenness, and that he would bring people into their lives that could introduce them to Jesus, and that Jesus could redeem them and forgive them of all their sins and heal their brokenness and help them to live a life that is holy and blameless in God's sight. And I would pray that God have mercy and grace on all these people. You know, that it's a dark world out here, and there's a lot of wickedness that goes on. But God created everything that has life. And, you know, people are the way they are because of circumstances and things that happen to them. So I just prayed out here and asked God to just have grace and mercy and bring people into their lives that will help them to come to know God, to come to know Jesus, and to invite Jesus into their hearts. So, you know, for the 10 months that Jazz was here, I scheduled 2 visits every single week, and he only seen me maybe 6 times total of all those times that I made appointments. So when he chose not to see me, it didn't matter. I prayed, I marched outside here, I would go back and forth 7 times, and I would just cover every person that was in here in heavy, saturated prayer. And, you know, even though I couldn't reach Jazz, I know that God reached Jazz. Because the second that he came through these doors, when he was released, he wanted to go to church right away. And that morning, now this is going to be TMI, too much information, but anyways, that morning he told me to be ready here for 7 o'clock. That, you know, it could be any time from 7 o'clock on. So I thought it was just going to be a quick pickup. Well, so I didn't brush my teeth, wash my face. I wasn't wearing a bra. I was in my pajamas, and I had my coat on. And I came here and sat here till 10 o'clock in the parking lot. I prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed to prepare Jazzy's heart. for when he comes out into the real world and stuff, for God to guide and direct his steps. And anyways, when he came out, he's like, "Oh, Mom, so good to see you, blah, blah, blah. La, la, la. Sorry, I just didn't want you to see me like that when I was in there. Sorry that I didn't see you when you would come to schedule the visits." And I said, "That's okay, Jazz. I kept praying. Even though you didn't want to see me, your mama was out here and she was marching and praying, and I was hoping you'd look out the window and maybe see me." And he said he didn't. But I imagined, all those times I used to imagine that he was watching his mama out here marching. But anyways, but the first thing he said was, "Mom, can we go to church? I want to go to church." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, Jess, I didn't brush my teeth, wash my face. I'm not even wearing a bra. I'm in my pajamas." And he's like, "Oh, I really wanted to go to church so much, Mom." I said, "You know what? Today we're going to go home. We can watch church on TV together, and then we'll go next week." So we went the following week, and immediately he talked to our pastor. He wanted to get baptized. So it just showed me, God hears our prayers. He really does. He hears our prayers and he answers our prayers. Ask and you shall receive, it says in Matthew. And you know what? I asked for God to redeem him. And Jazz chose to get baptized. He made those arrangements right away. And it was only a couple weeks later he got baptized at our church picnic in Fanshawe Conservation Lake. And it was so beautiful. So, when he died 3 years later, little did we know that he was going to die so soon and so young. But the comfort I have is that my boy, his soul was sealed to Jesus. He was sealed to Jesus. And, I know that those prayers, the prayers of a mama for her children and for others, God hears them. And I'm so grateful. Now, Jez is in heaven with our Savior. God rescued my boy from all the torment that the enemy tried to place upon him. God rescued my boy. And God is fulfilling one of the promises of God that I chanted over and over. And I had it written in the visor of my car and in my kitchen cupboards and on my refrigerator and on the mirror in the bathroom and on my computer at home. Was Acts 3:25. That through my offspring, that's Jazz, Christian, and Adoria, all peoples of the earth will be blessed. And you know what? They are getting blessed, and Jazz is getting the reward, and I'm so grateful. So I just wanted to share that. We need to pray. We need to pray, pray, pray. God hears our prayers. He really does. And now, today, my boy is in heaven. The greatest gift is that my boy is in heaven. So we all want to be reunited with our family and our loved ones in heaven. And I am forever grateful to our beautiful God, our Redeemer, our Healer, and our Comforter.